Yeah, record Keith's shirts.
John, I get my second jab on Friday.
Oh dear, good man.
Hey.
Good man.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
And your booster in September. God, what you got to live for, mate? Get on with it.
I'll be round for coffee again next week then, Dave.
That's lovely.
We get ours next week.
Yeah.
I get mine on Thursday.
Oh, 30th of April for me.
Beaches up.
So what gap are you guys facing between your first and your second?
3 months for me.
11 weeks.
Yeah,
11
February.
months.
Yeah, 12 weeks.
And 2 young week for mine.
It should have been 12. It's been brought forward a week for me.
Yeah.
So 11 weeks.
Been brought forward a
Your name Jose, by any chance? The special one.
But going back to Jack Charlton, they were a strange mixture, weren't they, of lovable and abrasive.
Yes.
As a manager, I mean, as a player, couldn't stand him. As a man and as a manager, like so many of these sportsmen, you didn't really have a lot of time for him as a sportsman. But and you may all disagree. I couldn't stand Jack Charlton, but as a manager and as a man, much better, much different.
Well, you don't have to like a man to respect his management capability.
Oh, that's true.
But
true.
You're right. You're right. And I blame Don Revie. You think about that Leeds team, you know. Sorry.
At the right time.
But you could say they were strong, but my word, there was some vicious tackles they put in.
Well, I mean, when you consider that the reputation has lasted well over 50 years for being dirty Leeds, I mean, it's solid foundations. It's almost universally accepted. They were brilliant, but they were dirty.
In Sheffield, it is, John. I don't think there's Scousers.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
Scousers don't regard them as dirty Leeds, don't they?
Well, we don't give it.
You've got Tommy Smith in your team, you don't.
Oh, Tommy Smith. Now, my dad used to say it's about Tommy Smith. He said, don't worry, son. He's just perfecting the sliding tackle. Did it for about 7 seasons, you know.
Hey, just on that, did anybody see the second programme about Jack Charlton?
Missed it. Just caught the end.
Garth Crooks was doing an interview. I don't normally like Garth Crooks, but he actually did it for once. He did an half-decent job with it.
Yeah. And then later on, there was Damned United.
Yeah. I finished up watching that.
I watched first 40 minutes,
Right, shall we get cracking?
You know where they filmed that?
I did, and I've forgotten.
Baseball ground. Chesterfield's old ground. I think it was Chesterfield's old ground.
Saltergate.
Yes, it was. The old ground, because there were very few stadiums left that had that stand configuration, and they painted the grass brown. True.
Right.
They often didn't need to at Chesterfield.
No.
On the baseball ground.
Or anywhere for that matter.
True.
Yeah.
Right, let's get cracking then. Any news, John? Or have you done that?
Not particularly. Just a reminder that it's Eric's wife's funeral on Thursday, 12:45 at City Road, if anyone wants to go and give Eric support.
Yeah.
No other significant news.
Okay. Right. Okay, Lol. We'll crack up with your speedy news of the week.
Well, I haven't got a lot this week, so you'll all be cheering.
Hey!
We'll start with rugby union. Now, using pitch-side saliva testing to diagnose concussion, it's a step nearer after a game-changing trial among male elite rugby union players. Researchers took samples from 156 Premiership and Championship players who had head injury assessments across 2017 to 2018 and 2018-19 seasons. Using microscopic DNA markers in saliva, they made a test that predicted a head injury assessment result with a 94% accuracy. However, the test cannot yet be used on women because of a lack of data.
And women
Now,
don't
going back to
spit.
the actual play, pun, John?
Women don't spit, do they? Because the ladies.
We don't see them.
Important caveat, lol. They haven't mentioned all front row forwards have been excluded.
That's true.
There's no way. No, yeah, there's no way of discerning the before and after.
Thank you very much.
Oh, mine, Ian.
I was.
Oh, mine, Ian. I was
I'll have you know I played half a season at scrum half.
I'll have you know, I played all my entire life as a hooker, but then
The fishnet tights do it.
oh,
Yeah.
the
We're
lipstick.
going to the playing side now. Now, France failed in their quest to win the Six Nations Championship as Scotland snatched their first victory in Paris since 1999. The hosts, needing a bonus point and a winning margin of 21 points, never looked like achieving their target, and Scotland got a decisive late try to win 27-23, thus handing Wales the Six Nations title.
My God, these South Africans are good, aren't they? The one who scored the late try for Scotland.
Yeah, it's a real Scottish name, Van der Merwe.
Merck.
I
Merck
think
Van der Merwe.
the French must have known as soon as they walked on the pitch, the weather was atrocious. No way it was going to be a high scoring game as far as they were concerned.
Yeah.
Handling was too difficult.
Yeah.
No, but Scotland were up for it from the off, weren't they? Scotland.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that's
Never
what
looked like-
against England. They just psyched themselves up.
Right, nip on to athletics. Now, world heptathlon champion Katarina Thompson says that Olympic success this summer will be determined by who has coped best with the pandemic. COVID-19 has severely affected athletes' preparations for Tokyo 2020, set to take place this July, having been postponed last year. The 28-year-old said there would be gold medal prospects falling short because of lack of proper preparation for the games. Now, also on athletics.
Getting their excuses in early.
Yeah.
Up to 10 Russian track and field athletes will be able to compete as neutrals at the Tokyo Olympics this summer. Athletics World Governing Body has reinstated a scheme allowing Russian athletes who meet anti-doping criteria to compete under a neutral flag. The authorised neutral athletic scheme was announced in March last year, but was then suspended over further violations. Russia has been banned from competing as a nation in athletics since 2015. Comments?
Yeah, Brian's just made one.
It'd be interesting to see how many of them pass the antidote test.
What happens if they fail? What happens then?
No, the neutral country will be banned.
Non-existent. The non-existent country will be banned.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they can find 10.
Gunboats will be sent out. It could be Third World War.
Yeah, them were days, weren't they? Gunboats. Yeah.
What they need to do is to introduce a lifetime achievement award to the coach who manages to go through a career without having been caught for doping.
Yeah.
Very cynical.
Yeah.
Right then, we'll nip on to snooker. The veterans Stephen Hendry and John White will meet in the first qualifying round of the World Championship next month. 52-year-old Hendry won all 4 of the pair's finals in the 1990s. The Scottish 7-time world champion retired in 2012 before making his return earlier this month when he went out in the first round of the Gibraltar Open. 58-year-old White has lost to in 6 World Championship finals and is currently ranked 83 in the world, while Hendry is ranked 127. Now, staying with snooker, Neil Robertson claimed the Tour Championship with a 10-4 win and in doing so, he inflicted Ronnie O'Sullivan with his 5th ranking final defeat of the season. The Australian hit 5 century breaks in the final and won with 6 consecutive frames after being level at 4-4. This was a 20th ranking title triumph for the UK Championship winner. Anybody watch the snooker?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Good stuff. Now we nip on to cricket. Now Yorkshire have signed a new deal with Scarborough Cricket Club to be able to continue playing county championship and limited overs cricket on their ground for the next 10 years. The North Marine Road ground will host 2 first-class matches and 2 one-day cup games per season. Scarborough now attracts the biggest crowds anywhere in the country for 4-day county games. Yorkshire will play Lancashire for the first time in 30 years on this ground in a Roses game starting on the 11th of July. Now going back to this last series in India, after scoring a brilliant 124 to help England win the 2nd ODI in Pune, Johnny Bairstow said he is targeting the record for most hundreds by an England batsman in that format of the game. He now has 11 centuries, 5 behind the chap who leads the way. Who leads the way?
Joe Root.
Joe Root, that's right.
Joe Root.
Yep, he got 16. Now, England, they were beaten in a thrilling ODI series decider against India, despite a fabulous 95 not out by Sam Curran. Chasing 330, England looked beaten at 200 for 7 in the 31st over, only for Curran to keep them in the game by adding 57 with Adil Rashid and 60 with Mark Wood. Going into the final over, India held their nerve to complete a win by 7 runs and so taking the series 2-1.
Held by 3 dropped catches, was it, or 4?
Yeah.
Oh, terrible India in the field, terrible.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
The other thing about it is they spurned taking a load of singles when if they'd have taken some of those singles, they'd have been in with a right shout. I know that they take the risk that the other guy would have been out. You know, there was one over when they only got 1 run off it. Whereas if they'd have
it's a fine balance, isn't it? I mean, what I know about cricket compared to you lads is very little, but it's a balance, isn't it? You take the singles and the risk. You've got a poor batsman at the other end, or do you give, have some confidence in him? A tail ender can slog a ball, can't he? When it's the last over, anything goes really. So waiting for a ball to hit a 6 is a big gamble, isn't it?
Not a bad batsman either.
Well, yes. So give him a chance. You might hit a single, might hit a couple. You might get down to the last ball and you need a 6, and then somebody will bowl underarm.
Look on the bright side. We did well in India in the one-day internationals, given the injuries we've got. I think we're in a good position for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Where is the World Cup this time?
India.
Handy having Livingston, very useful. Bowls off breaks to left-handers and leg breaks to right-handers in the same over. He just bowls turns them both ways.
Brilliant.
Very handy.
From Lancashire, isn't he?
Yeah.
Don't make him a bad person, Ian.
From Lancashire.
Hey, watch it. There's 2 of us now.
We can mute all the rest.
Keith can put you on mute,
We can try.
Go on. Okay, carrying on. A little bit on boxing. The former world champion, Oscar De La Hoya, says he will be making his boxing comeback on the 3rd of July, 13 years after retiring. The 48-year-old held 11 titles across 6 weight divisions in a 16-year career and is regarded as one of the greatest ever pound-for-pound fighters. His final fight was a defeat to Manny Pacquiao in 2008.
Why did they do it?
Well, exactly. What
Why
money?
did they let them?
Well, I thought they
Yeah.
fought for more than £1, though. I think £1 million for £1 million. I think not.
Now, this weekend, Dillian White kept his hopes alive of a heavyweight world title shot by emphatically gaining revenge over Alexander Povetkin in an impressive knockout win in their rematch. The 30-year-old Briton showed smart timing from the start of the contest, which was held in Gibraltar. The fight was stopped in the 4th round after a right hand sent Povetkin backwards, another sent him to the ropes, and a left hook floored him heavily onto the canvas. The Russian staggered back to his feet, but he was clearly not fit to continue, and therefore suffered his 3rd defeat of his career in 39 fights. Now, I said 3rd defeat. Who are the other 2 boxers that's beaten him?
Joshua's
one.
Yeah.
And Russian geezer.
The other one was
Wilder.
Ukrainian, the other one.
All right.
Oh,
Klitschko.
Klitschko, that's correct.
Klitschko.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one, though? Which one at Klitschko's?
The
Nobody
big
knows.
one.
Now we're going to a little bit on horse racing. It's a strange story, this one. A jockey has expressed deep regret after he was found to be 1,000 times above the cocaine limit in a test at Chelmsford races last year.
Yeah.
Adrian McCarthy said he was depressed during lockdown and took the drug several times while drinking in a pub a day or 2 before the meeting. The 42-year-old had his license withdrawn for 6 months by an independent disciplinary panel.
I sympathise.
When the horse saddled him up.
How did he get 1,000 times over it, though?
He was still going around the track last week. Took him a...
He's applied for Russian citizenship.
I think he was still looking for the track last week, Ian.
Yeah. He's what, Paul? Applied for Russian what?
He's applied for Russian citizenship. He's going to get in the Olympic team.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll be around later, Keith.
Yep.
The Formula One. Now, starting in pole position in the Bahrain Grand Prix, Max Verstappen came 2nd behind Lewis Hamilton in the first race of the new season. In an unusual finish to the race, Verstappen took the lead from Hamilton with 4 laps to go. But because he had run off the track in overtaking, he was told to hand the lead back to Hamilton. The move cost the Red Bull driver the victory, as Hamilton held on to win, with Mercedes teammate Bottas coming 3rd.
0.7 of a second, wasn't it? Between Hamilton and Verstappen.
Almost on his tail.
0.7 of a second.
It was the director of the race that told him to give the lead back because Verstappen had actually gone off the track. There are some track limits that they're not very rigorous in imposing, and all the practice sessions they were allowed to go off the track. And during the race, he made this decision that it was, illegal, and made Verstappen give the lead back, which I thought was a little unfair.
Right,
Nobody else
finishing on football. No, we'll finish on football. At least we can't talk about United and Wednesday this week. And I won't talk about England because they sent me to sleep on Sunday night.
That's unfair. You sleep every Sunday night.
That's true. The Brora Rangers created one of the biggest shocks in Scottish Cup history as the Highland League champions knocked out Hearts in the 2nd round by 2-1. Hearts had reached the final for the last 2 seasons, running only to be beaten by Celtic on both occasions. First time Hearts have been beaten by a non-league side since 1900. Manchester City are to install 5,620 rail seats this summer to enhance supporter safety at their Etihad ground. The seats, which can be folded away to create a safe standing area with barriers, will be installed in the lower tier of the south stand and will be ready to use for the start of next season. Standing at grounds in the top 2 tiers of English football is banned currently, but City say this work means they will be ready if the rules change.
Well, they've finished the statue of Aguero by then. They're putting a statue of him up.
Yeah.
Statue of
Aguero.
Oh, Aguero. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's leaving at the end of the season.
Don't want him anymore.
Yeah.
Wonder if he fancies playing in League One.
The FIFA, they've banned ex-President Sepp Blatter from football until 2028 after giving him a new suspension of 6 years and 8 months. He has also been fined £780,000 as punishment for various violations of FIFA's Code of Ethics. The 85-year-old's new ban will start when his current suspension ends in October this year. Former FIFA General Secretary, 60-year-old Jerome Falke, has received a similar ban and fine for the same offence, but his new ban won't start until October 2025.
Lol.
Hello.
Sepp Blatter thinks ethics is somewhere near Middlesex and Sussex.
Yeah.
Very good.
Do you think he'll make a comeback when he's 93?
Oh yeah.
When his band's finished.
The Prince of Darkness. Yeah. Just a quickie about football. If you don't
I did hear an
interesting
article.
Oh, all right then.
An interesting article which says he hasn't actually broken any laws because there was no control. What they did was just award themselves bonuses, but they weren't breaking any law when they awarded themselves the bonuses. Why he's never been criminally prosecuted.
Yeah.
Right.
No, just a quick aside, it's not one-upmanship, it's just a bit of surprise, really, reading that Jordan Rhodes had overtaken Billy Sharp as the number of goals scored in the Championship. Obviously, Billy Sharp has scored more goals than anybody in the English Football League, and that's an amazing record. I was just surprised Billy Sharp has. Just surprised that Jordan Rhodes had overtaken him in Championship goals.
Right.
Just think what he would have done if he'd have actually been scoring goals this last 3 years. Yeah,
He should have been playing.
Well, that's true, Dave. That's true.
Billy Sharp might have a chance to get it back next season.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Right. Now, Everton's plans for a new stadium. What's that?
I'm saying to Peter, what are they talking about?
Oh dear.
Well, Everton's plans for a new stadium have now received final approval from the government. The Bramley-Moore dock site on Liverpool's waterfront was given council approval in February, but the government wanted more time to review the proposals. Everton have played at Goodison Park since 1892 and have been looking for a new home for 25 years.
If they kick the ball too hard, it'll wind up in the Mersey.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, won't pitch get waterlogged as well?
They're making it out of hubcaps.
So,
I'm not kicking too hard, it'll wind up in Birkenhead.
I can tell you that the police stopped a bloke in Liverpool, stopped his car, searched his car, checked everything on it. There was nothing wrong. He wasn't carrying drugs or knives or anything. So they did him for wasting police time.
Nicking the car. How many other grounds are there near the Mersey?
Tranmere.
Tranmere and?
Now, Tranmere is a fair distance away.
Which is the nearest ground to the Mersey?
That's the one, Keith. Come on.
What's that, Keith?
Which is the nearest ground to the Mersey?
Stockport.
Is it one at Manchester Club? Stockport, yeah.
County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever said that, I don't know who said it, but
it was one of Ron's quizzes, I think, a while back.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful ground to visit.
The former Sheffield United winger, Derek Hawksworth, has passed away at the age of 93. Joining the Blades in 1950, he went on to score 88 goals in 255 league games before joining Huddersfield in 1958. Now, I've got a few questions about Derek. First of all, who did the signing from? Anybody? Go on,
Keith does.
Bradford City.
Correct.
Good answer.
Now, he went to Huddersfield in an exchange deal with another player coming the other way. Who came the other way? Go on.
Ronnie Simpson.
Correct.
Mary
who was the
Simpson.
Sheffield United?
Mary.
Who was the Sheffield?
Rocky.
No, but didn't they, Wednesday Arch nicknamed him Mary, didn't they?
Probably did.
Yeah.
At their level.
Now, 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before they signed Derek, they signed another very popular player at Bramall Lane. Who was that in 1950? And he went on to play for Ireland in football.
Come on, Keith, your bonus point.
Baldoonican.
Sorry, 2 weeks before.
1950.
It was Alf Ringstead.
Ringstead.
We're getting around to it. I was just recalling.
They signed him from Northwich, Victoria in the Cheshire League. And the total outlay for the two players was £15,000.
That's what the budget is for next year.
Last week, it was mentioned that Frank Worthington had passed away at the age of 72. And we started deciding what clubs he played for. I looked into that and I was amazed about how many clubs he played for. So I'd like you to give me all the clubs if possible, and I'll tick them off as you go along.
Well, there were 11.
Leeds is one. Leeds he played 32. Huddersfield.
Yeah, Jonathan's got an interesting one.
Weymouth.
Weymouth, yes. Weymouth, yes, he played 4 times.
Good answer, Jonathan.
Halifax.
Halifax, yes, he finished up with them as player coach, but he never actually played.
He played for the reserves when he was 45, apparently, at Halifax.
Yep.
Leicester.
Let's stick to the Football League rather than non-league at the moment. Who signed him from Huddersfield?
Huddersfield. Huddersfield.
Yeah, Leicester, 210. Who signed him from Leicester? Bolton, 84 games. Then he went to America on loan to Philadelphia Fury, where he played 21. And then he came back and played for Birmingham.
Birmingham.
75 games. Then he went back to America to play for Tampa Bay Rowdies, 26 games. Then he played for Leeds. Where did he go to from Leeds?
Dirty Leeds.
Yeah, Dirty Leeds, sorry.
Dirty Leeds.
Who did he go to from Leeds?
To hell.
Dirty Leeds.
Shall I just read them out?
Yeah.
Sunderland, 19 games.
Yeah.
Southampton, 34 games. Brighton, 31 games. Tranmere Rovers, 59 games. Preston, 23 games. Stockport, 19 games. Then he went into non-league. Chorley, 3 games. Galway United, 2 games. Isley, 20 games. So talk about a football journeyman. 846 games, 267 goals. What a
300 clubs.
For me, he scored one of the best goals ever.
Pardon?
Yeah.
For me, he scored one of the best goals ever.
Yeah.
That one where he flicked it over his shoulder.
The shorty
Yeah.
Focus on Saturday.
That's right. Before the international.
So we're
That's it.
Less than a minute.
got
Well
just
done.
over a minute left.
Says less than a minute on my screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.